Hey guys, it's your girl T, and this is my last video, I promise. But anyway, shout out to Devin. He sent me this really disturbing case. It's coming out of Washington State, and basically it was two boys, a 10 and 11-year-old. They basically came up with this plot to rape and murder another girl in the 5th grade, and also to shoot several students at their school. So I'm going to go ahead and play you guys a news clip, and then I'll come back with the rest of my commentary.
Raiders at the center of a frightening murder plot. Today, we got a startling look at just how close Colville came to an on-campus shooting. A 10 and 11-year-old boy face murder conspiracy charges for their alleged plot to kill fellow elementary school students. KXLY4's Jeff Humphrey was in Stevens County Superior Court today. Jeff, prosecutors asked that despite these boys' age, they be held responsible for their actions.
All day long, a judge up there has been trying to decide whether or not these boys, 10 and 11 years old, knew the difference between right and wrong when they allegedly hatched a murder plot for their school. However, the fact that they were ready to pay up to $80 to another student to keep their plan a secret shows a lot about what they knew in advance. They are still too young for us to identify, but prosecutors say this pair of 5th graders came up with a very grown-up plan to get a gun in school in the hopes of killing a classmate.
He said he was supposed to use the gun to keep everyone away and he said at that point, he said was going to kill her.
A fellow student tipped off counselors about the alleged murder plot. A search of one of the defendant's backpacks in his classroom turned up a knife as well.
Richard had tracked down the knife, and in the process of tracking down the knife, he had found this, and he pulled out the gun and showed me, and I was very shocked.
Today in court, we learned one of the boys had already been suspended from Fort Colville Elementary for bringing liquor on campus and stealing musical instruments from his school. Prosecutors say the 5th graders planned to rape and kill a girl who had been mocking them on their school bus.
And then I asked him about the gun, where he got the gun. He said he had stolen that from his brother's room, and that his brother had stolen it from his grandfather.
Other testimony revealed the killing was supposed to happen the same day the gun was discovered, but a quick-thinking 10-year-old told counselors who found the gun before it was too late.
Both had explained to me that they'd been planning this for 2 weeks prior to that date, and that on the date that we'd made contact and interviewed these students, it was going to happen that day.
Now, more often than not, these juvenile court proceedings are all about helping young people recognize and then recover from their mistakes. But in this case, the prosecutor is focused on conviction and punishment to help to protect the public for the young men that he finds surprisingly dangerous.
Wow, Jeff. Now, we heard a lot from people today. What's next in these proceedings?
Well, as we left the courtroom today, the judge was about to hear from 2 different mental health experts. They're going to testify about the maturity level of these 2 particular boys, whether or not they were suffering from a mental health defect. And so the testimony was running long today, but we do expect the judge to make a ruling today because of custodial issues involving the boys, and we'll try to have that information for you come up tonight at 6.
All right. Okay, so you guys just watched the news clip, and this whole situation is extremely disturbing. I'm glad that they're not taking this lightly. A lot of people are saying, well, why would you lock a 10-year-old up in juvenile detention for 5 years? I think he needs to be locked up for at least 5 years. He needs serious counseling. He needs psychological therapy. For these kids to be so advanced that they will come up with this plot and then try and pay somebody hush money to not say anything. Where do these kids, where do they get $80 from? My kids might have $10 in their piggy bank. Where would these kids get $80 from? Why are we just handing kids that type of money that they can use to bribe, other children with? And what I find more disturbing is the fact that, a lot of people are trying to scream mental illness and mental health. And I'm not saying that these kids may not have been, mentally ill and may not have issues, but at the end of the day, it does not excuse their behavior. They wanted to rape another child. What the hell does a 5th grader know about rape? And then this is not the first time these kids have been in trouble. They said that at some point in time, one of the boys had got caught bringing alcohol to school. I honestly believe that there's some issues here going on with the parents. How is your child sneaking liquor and bringing it to school? So I blame the parents for a lot of this. I think the parents were basically ignoring the obvious signs that there was something wrong with their child. And it seems like this child was just left to do whatever he wanted to do. He was constantly stealing stuff and bringing things to school that he had no business bringing to school. So I can imagine how that child's home life is. And this is why I say everybody doesn't need to be parents, because some people are doing a really shitty job of raising their kids. Your child is sneaking alcohol to school. Your child has a gun. Your child has a knife. And all this in the 5th grade? All this at age 10 and 11? This is really, really crazy. I don't think the state needs to take this lightly at all. I think the state needs to take this very seriously, because I think once these kids get out, they still need to be under severe monitoring to make sure that they're okay and to make sure they're not going to snap and do anything else to hurt anybody else. You know, a lot of people think because kids are young that they're automatically innocent and they would never do anything. I don't put shit past nobody. All these stories I get sent, I don't put nothing past old people, young people, gay people, straight people, black people, white people. Hell, everybody's damn crazy, especially in Florida. So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the entire situation. Do you feel like 5 years in a juvenile facility is too long for these boys? And then how do you feel about the parents? You know, do you feel like the parents are to blame? Because again, this child had been suspended for bringing alcohol to school before. So let me know your thoughts on the entire situation. I also want to say kudos to the kid who stepped up and told on these kids. Had he not told, there probably would have been a massacre at this school. So I think that this 4th grader needs to be held as a hero. He saved a lot of lives, and he also saved a young girl from getting raped. So we need to stop with the whole stop snitching bullshit. Sometimes you do need to snitch. Sometimes you do need to tell, because you might be saving somebody's life. So go ahead and leave a comment. All right. Deuces.